So Highland Grows Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
SkyDxddy.
our some questions today about our upcoming album TRAUMACORE, Raw and Uncut. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Good. People are really excited. It's been 5 years in the making, honestly. People have been waiting for an album from me for a while, as well as myself. But yeah, it's being pretty well received so far from the things that I've been kind of previewing on socials and stuff like that. So I think people are excited.
Hell yeah. Now, we spoke about this very briefly before the recording started, but how are you personally feeling? Album comes out on Friday. At the time of recording, it's Tuesday. How are you feeling?
Really, honestly, I'm terrified. I want to like be super cool and calm and collected about it, but like I think this being like my debut album, there's so much pressure on it. Which is silly because technically like the release of the album isn't even really the big deal. It's like what happens after it. And just like how much work goes into it in regards to like the album's out and it exists in the world, but then like having the right kind of videos that can reach the right people, you know, like we live in an age that's very like social media content driven. But I'm scared, but I'm also really excited. I have like a listening party, like album release party that's happening the day before in Nashville. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, I think a lot of different emotions, honestly.
Hell yeah.
Mostly excited.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, the album is awesome. We got to hear the whole thing, and it is incredible.
Yes.
Thank
Well
you. Thank you so much. That means so much to me.
Hell yeah, you're welcome.
Of course. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, definitely. So for the album title, we kind of went back and forth on whether it should be named Medusa or TRAUMACORE. And we went with TRAUMACORE because TRAUMACORE is the genre that I have like. So TRAUMACORE in itself has like already existed when it came to like the art community, and like if you go on Reddit or Google TRAUMACORE, you'll see like pastel colored, almost like creepypasta type art that's like very nostalgic, and it's something that a lot of like kids, young adults have used to cope with their trauma and get through it. And I was always fascinated by it, and it helped me a lot. So I kind of had this thought where it was like, okay, well, like, what if this was in like an audio form, like in a way that you can listen to it instead of just kind of create the art from it. So TRAUMACORE, it's been something that I have had as basically my brand for like ever since I got started. Like people started calling me the CEO of TRAUMACORE because we're trying to raise awareness on it as much as possible. So calling it TRAUMACORE Raw and Uncut. Half of the album was produced by me. So it being like the raw and uncut version, it's not like perfect by any means, like mixing wise and all that stuff, but I liked that it almost felt like, you know, it was just like made in someone's bedroom, and there's not like a need to be perfect or like a whole bunch of money or big studio or big recording equipment behind it. It's real and it's raw. So that's the story behind that. And the album art, honestly, so TRAUMACORE was lucky enough to get picked up by we have this like distribution deal going on with Strange Music and Compound Interest, who is associated with Virgin Records, which is awesome. Feel so blessed to have them be a part of it. And we basically didn't have any photos, and they were like, you need to do some kind of photo shoot. So that was one of the photos that we took with Strange, with I think her name is Sam Levy. But yeah, that it was just such a cool picture. I felt like it encapsulated it, just this kind of grungy, vibey, not too like serious of a photo. Like I just felt like it fit really well.
Oh yeah, love it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about the writing process for the album?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How much time you got?
I don't know.
So the songs, so a lot of artists, including myself, have like, you like write a song and then you kind of put it away because it's not like the time to release it. A lot of these songs were those songs that were kind of away in like a vault, if you will. And when we decided to release an album, we kind of opened that vault and was like, okay, these are the songs that were so intense and so in your face and so like not sure if it would get like major DSP or like Spotify, iTunes, that kind of support because it's so intense, especially Not Guilty, which focuses on domestic violence. Dead Butterflies, which is about coercion, Strings, which is about grooming. All of these topics that I'm kind of bringing up is they're very tabooed and they're not talked about a lot in the extent that I do talk about them in the album. So we kind of they were kind of just made over, like I said, when I say 5 years in the making, it's because some of these songs are like 5 years old. And yeah, it's kind of crazy because Damsels is probably my favorite out of the whole. No, Not Guilty. So no, I love them all. But like Damsels is one of my favorites. And it was made, so half of it was made 5 years ago after my first experience with Essay, and I wasn't ready to put it out because it was just too raw of an experience at the time. And then like I rapped every single day and I sang every single day and I wrote every single day, and I got to the point where like my lyricism improved and became more like it got better. So Damsels, half of it was written 5 years ago and half of it was written like a couple months ago. So it's like these two different entities where it's like this person that's gone through severe trauma recently and then that person that's like healed a decent amount from that trauma. And it's so exciting to listen to because you can really hear the differences of like the hopelessness and like is there even a point to go on versus like, hell yeah, there is. And it is raising awareness and letting anybody that's gone through this know that like they're so much stronger than they realize and they can heal from these things. So I love that. That was a cool, I just think that's the coolest thing ever, having that be this almost like time capsule of a song.
Yes.
Yeah. And then obviously like there are some songs that I wrote in like 30 minutes. Arkham, which it's kind of like my pop Lady Gaga type song that I just had so much fun with, right? Like it's just fun. I think there's a writing process that was different for each song, if I'm being honest. Not Guilty was written a long time ago and then finished because I have someone close to me that's in a domestic violence situation and she can't get out, and I just kind of needed a cathartic release for that. There's just so many different ways to go about it. And then I went to LA for a couple of them where Best Part of the Story was written with one of my friends, an amazing songwriter, Ravenna, and Wolves, amazing producer. He also worked on so Choker was written with them, and that was written with Allie. And then Her was written with, so Her was mine, and then it was rewritten with Adam Bucas and this songwriter, her name's Chloe. So just all of these different things, like it stems from a really, really long time ago writing and me being by myself, and you can kind of hear it. And then it's like, oh, okay, she's kind of like getting more into the industry and more into the space. Let's go out to LA. Let's go to Nashville. Let's go to different places where we can be with more artistic people. And those songs were created that way. So lots of different songwriting processes for all of them. It's you can hear it how it's a little, I don't want to say all over the place because I feel like in the terms of it being traumacore, like it is all traumacore, but in terms of genres and stuff, I've always been a little bit like genre bending, genre hopping, genre-less. Fluid, yeah. And I think that's really exciting. Or maybe it's just my ADHD, I'm not sure.
No, I fucking love when artists are kind of able to tackle any genre that they want to, and then also somehow be able to wrap it up under one name for just like one album.
Yeah.
I think it's very impressive. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
ADHD aside, it's fucking awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's so nice
hell
to hear. Sometimes I get in my head about it, so it's like, okay, this is okay. I'm okay. It's because there's so much stigma where it's like pick a genre, like pick this, pick that. And that usually comes from like people wanting to playlist you. Like if they put you in a rock playlist and then the next week you make a pop song, it gets confusing.
Yeah.
But it's like, who cares? Like if I can, there was like this one time, it's not anymore because it was so fast, but there was this one time where I was on Salt and I was also on All New Rock. So it was like, I was like starting that genre-less thing. That's kind of my goal for this album, to just have a whole bunch of playlists that are all over the place, but still me,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Casting the widest net you can. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned all the different writing processes that you have. Did you have a favorite one that was easiest for you, one that you hated, or just maybe don't want to try again? Or were they all just kind of the same?
I mean, I love writing with new people for sure. Being in rooms with like other talented, driven, artistic individuals is always really fun. I think it's interesting because I feel like when I'm writing with other people, my most mainstream stuff comes out. And that's not a bad thing. I honestly love it because it makes it that, like you said, I'm able to cast more wider of a net compared to when I write songs that's just like in my bedroom. Like Not Guilty was written just by me. Dead Butterflies was written just by me. I'll tell you, honestly, probably Dead Butterflies was the hardest one because I had an experience where so Dead Butterflies is all about coercion, and it's I feel like it's a topic we don't talk about enough. Like we tackle like essay and things like that, but like the topic of like coercion itself, what it means, what it does to you, that was a really hard thing to grasp, like let alone write about.
Yeah.
So I might not be doing that again just because it was like slightly re-traumatizing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, but for the most part, I feel like I loved all of the writing process because it was a matter of like, I think at the time I don't really like, and this is always how it's been as an artist, I was never like, okay, I'm gonna write this and it's gonna be for this album. I'm gonna write this and it's gonna be for this, that, and the other. I just write it because I need to get it out of my like body and out of my system. So when we wrote these songs, or when I wrote these songs, it was like, okay, like I said, like let's kind of put this to the side and wait till the right moment to release it. And when I was doing that, I didn't know that it would be in the album. I'm glad that it is now, but it definitely took a lot of like me being like, okay, this is like the beginning of my healing process. Like once I get these out, I can start kind of like writing even more empowering stuff and tackling different topics. And like I think at the very end of the album, there's a song called Best Part of the Story, which is the like happiest song that I will ever release. And I honestly love it because, I'm in a part of my life where like I'm healing and I'm doing really well. Like I'm at a gym right now, which like my 2 years ago, I would never be at. Like I didn't have any interest in healing myself or making myself physically better. Like I'm in a beautiful relationship with my girlfriend. Like, I just think things are really cool right now, and I'm excited to maybe tap more into that and show people that TRAUMACORE, because there's a lot of stigma when it comes to the word TRAUMACORE, where they think it's like glorifying or glamorizing, and it's not. It's the whole point of TRAUMACORE is like turning that pain into power. And I've shown and released songs a lot about the pain, and I'm ready to get to the power part.
Yeah, damn straight. Damn straight.
Yeah.
So how did the track listing for the album come about? Did you write the opener to be the opener, closer to be the closer? Did you shuffle it around and see what fits? What was that process like?
was a mess, dude. It was such a mess. We were like, how are we even supposed to put this in the right order?
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend, Megan, she's also my manager. She helped me with the order of it all. We definitely listened to them all at this like over and over again, trying to figure out like, oh, this would be a really good intro. But at the same time, you want to like create this like audible like journey that these people can go on and like listen to and have it make sense, have it coincide. Like I think I've always been really inspired by certain artists that have bodies of work that just make sense, and it's almost like kind of like a musical, you know. That was a struggle to try to do with this. But yeah, we kind of just like, I think we ended up doing Choker first just because it felt like such an intro kind of song. Like she sits there in silence, she's too scared to speak, almost like curtains open, you know, like she's there, she's dealing with her stuff. And then it goes into like things like strings and you know, it's like, oh, this is why she's wearing her trauma like a choker. This is the things that she went through and all of these things. It's we tried to order it so it made the most sense to the listener. And it was definitely a process, and there was a lot of thought that went into it for sure.
Gotcha.
That's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where was your headspace at while you were writing the album?
So many different places. Like so many different places. I think it got, I don't know. Like at some point you kind of just be like feel, I never want to be a person that writes a song because it's like, oh, I want this to be the next hit, or I want this to go well on TikTok. Like I don't, I mean, that's all well and good when people do that. There's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like that's when a lot of the artistry is taken out of it. And when a lot of the emotion and love for the craft is taken out of it. So when I was creating it, I feel like I was in a headspace of just stay true to myself and like be real and be honest and don't censor yourself, because like I've been kind of censored my whole life, especially like I grew up in the South and women are highly controlled by men there, and it's a huge reason why my name's SkyDxddy. Like I never want to feel like my narrative is being rewritten for me or being controlled or being like silenced in any way, or even like again filtered. So it's just a raw emotional state. Is a long way of answering that question.
Yeah.
No, it's completely valid.
And I think people can see that it's real and it's true, because we talk about this all the time, that you know people can see right through the facade if you're like writing for the next TikTok hit or whatever. People don't like to be pandered to.
Yeah. And a lot of people do that. And like I said, it's, you know, you do you, I get it, get your bag, but like when, you know, don't complain when people see through it. 'Cause like a lot of people are like, oh, like how'd you do this? And like, how'd you get your fan base? And I even have record labels that use me as case studies where they're like, how do we create this rabid fan base? And it's, everyone's always gets so mad at the word authentic. And that's genuinely what it is. You have to like, not always. I think if you're super talented and can create a song that's just like makes people feel a certain emotion, that's awesome. But vulnerability with people goes a long way. Absolutely. Because at some point they're not even buying into the music, they're buying into you and your journey and like who you have become and like what it took to get there, because they're like, oh well, if you can do it, why can't I? And I think like there's a lot of artists that can be kind of like Jelly Roll's a perfect example of that. It's like going through the ringer and working your way to selling out arenas. It's like it's the tried and true underdog story that everyone wants to kind of like get behind, because it's exciting and it's a fun journey to watch, compared to like, oh, I'm like, I want to be an artist just cause. Like you got to find your why and what you're showing to people, you know?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they play it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Should they work out to it? What do you personally recommend?
Oh gosh. I feel like you should be doing different stuff for different things. Because like it's good, there's a song called God of War on there that I love so much. I wrote with my friend Sam Tenez and this awesome producer Austin. And I got obsessed with God of War, like the video game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Like I was so obsessed with it, still am. But I wanted a song that was just like super like in your face and upbeat, and I feel like it would just be perfect for something like beast mode. So like working out to it, like which I do. So I think definitely working out to God of War for sure. But like a lot of them, probably half the album is a put on your headphones and cry in the dark kind of vibe,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Maybe
Soundtrack
take
to your
a bubble
life.
bath. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, but also at the same time, I think listening with friends in the car too, like the relatability of it all. I feel like there's such a sense of community in all of the songs, and if like it's like okay, if I've gone through this and I relate to this and you also relate to this, there's like it's like damn, like I'm not alone anymore. Like I don't have to listen to this alone in my bedroom with headphones on. Like I can listen to this with you and we can kind of help each other get through all of the stuff that comes from the trauma that we've endured for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
In 3 words.
Yeah,
3
only
words.
3.
Okay. Cathartic. I want to say raw, even though that's in the title, but I have to say raw.
Okay.
We'll take it.
Transformative.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Those are solid.
Hell
Yeah.
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 Definitely. And in the same vein, but not as much pressure, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want this album to evoke in your listeners?
Power for sure. I
Power?
want them to like, yeah, definitely. I want them to feel powerful. I want them to feel, obviously that's not an emotion, but like I want them to feel like understood and feel like even though like these are the things that they've gone through, that like they can make it out and still have like an amazing fucking life afterwards.
Mhm.
Yeah. Emotion wise, it's like what even are emotions? Like happy and sad. Huh. I want them to feel all the emotions, you know, like not guilty. I want them to feel angry
Mm.
because it's a, you know, you heard it. It's a fucked up situation. And I
Yeah.
think especially when it comes to domestic violence situations, like they have every right to be angry about that, whether it's them going through it or a loved one going through it and like witnessing that. There's so much anger there. Like you're allowed to be angry about it. Even like strings and dead butterflies, like feeling like I feel like there's so much strength and power in feeling like sad and hurt because that validates that emotion that you otherwise would repress for a really long time.
Yeah.
And in those songs where it's like my acceptance of the fact that I was groomed and essayed and all of these things, it's like, okay, I don't have to carry this self-blame with me or this guilt or this shame with me anymore. It's not mine to carry. And once you kind of be like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to be hurt by this, but and I think that's why we kind of like made the album the way that it is. It's very, very intense, very sad, very painful life experiences, all of the trauma that you can think of. And then it gets to like things like Mortal Kombat, where it's like bad bitch energy, or Bring It On, which is about being a woman in a male dominated industry. Like there's so many feelings of like redemption, you know? Yeah. So all the emotions. I want them to feel all the emotions. And by the ending of it, which is best part of the story is the ending, I want them to feel happy and hopeful. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Damn
I love
straight.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you talk about any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
Strings was so hard to make. That one was a hard one. I think so. Strings was made when I kind of I didn't really come to the realization of the fact that I was groomed as a kid until it was like I realized it, and I had to like do all of like the research on it and do all of the healing and all of the it's weird. When it comes to the topic of grooming, it's such a weird thing because like you feel like you're so in control, and you feel like there's so much that you played a part in, and you're like, okay, well, this was my decision and this was my decision, and then you take away like, okay, well, I was this old and this person was this old, and they had this maturity level and I had this maturity level, and then you kind of break it down and you start to be like, oh, like I said no to that alcohol and they kept pushing it on me until I said yes. They waited until I had a really bad relationship with my family, and they kind of like took me in and had me live with them. Like there are all these things where you kind of come to terms with it. And at that time, I was coming to terms with it. And in order to kind of cope with it, I wrote Strings. So Strings was one of the hardest songs I've ever written in my life, for sure. Just because I was coping and dealing with it and unraveling in real time.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing to do. Most of my songs, it's like, oh, well, I've been through this. Let's talk about how that made me feel in the past. This was like, okay, this is a now feeling.
Yeah.
So that was very, very difficult. In regards to just the creation of the album in general, for the most part, I had so much fun with it, honestly. I like,
Good.
there are certain songs, yeah, like there are certain songs on there, like Bring It On was written. Honestly, I was living in a camper. Like when I first got started with all of this, me and my girlfriend, is my manager, we were living in a camper on this like dingy campground. And it was like COVID just hit and we were broke, and like life was weird and crazy. And that was when I wrote Bring It On and a couple of other songs that are going to be on the deluxe album. And when I wrote Bring It On, it was just like me trying to kind of just like, it was kind of like me being like, I could be a rapper, like why not, you know? And
Yeah.
it was like me kind of like stepping into that moment of like, okay, like this is like I'm allowed to do this. I think for the longest time I felt like I didn't have the ability to do it based off of like, I grew up in country music, so there was so much like making me feel like I had to stay in a certain genre. Like I was in theater and obviously country and rock, and those were the things that I kind of like the space that I lived in. But I realized after I went through all of my trauma, Megan introduced me to NF's music, and I listened to Mansion and Therapy Session, and she was like, "What if you did this?" And I was like, "You're fucking crazy. There's no way." And there's this one moment where we were at work and these guys were like making jokes about consent, and I got super pissed off and I almost hit one of them in the face with a brick. And she had to be like, go walk it off, because obviously you can't do that to people. So when I was walking away, in my head I was like, that was when the words like, I shouldn't take things so serious. I don't think they mean any harm, but it would sicken you too if it happened to you and you had to relive every part. And like that was the moment where I think in my head I had her being like, oh, you should do what NF does, and you could be a rapper, you could do this. And I think in order to kind of like cope with these feelings, like I was genuinely so angry because these were like people that were kind of like my friends, and watching them do like the locker room talk, it like I saw red. I just couldn't help myself. Like it infuriated me. So, and I'm a scrappy person. But so instead of just like succumbing to like fighting a bitch or you know, doing stuff that's gonna get me in trouble, or even like dealing with like, I had problems with alcohol and shit back then, and I didn't want to kind of sink deeper into that. So once I wrote those lines, it just took off from there, and I just continued to write and continued to make songs. And that was when I wrote my first EP, Into the Dark, and all of those songs were like, I feel like it's crazy because Into the Dark was written, and in between the creation of the EP, at least 2 or 3 of the songs on this album were written, and those were the ones that were put in the vault because they were way too intense to release like to the public, like Not Guilty and Sirens, and just some of the songs that were so intense and in your face, and like Megan was like, this is just, like, you're kind of ahead of your time right now. People aren't ready for this.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of entering this era of people being open and honest and real and not afraid to stand in their truth. And there, you know what I mean? Like, there are people talking about their DV situations and their SA situations, and like the dialogue is being created now. So it's like, okay, maybe this is where I kind of slide in and be like, give them a little bit of a soundtrack to the things that they're feeling, you know?
Absolutely. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're there and doing that for those people who can relate to your words and your music.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah.
Of course. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour. You're at a gas station for a rest stop. You're going in.
Okay.
What is your snack of choice?
My snack of choice. Probably Doritos. I love Doritos. Nowadays, honestly, if this is tour in the future, I have like, I feel so like pretentious saying this, but I'm on a very strict meal plan because I'm trying to get fit for tour.
Yeah.
So I'd probably like, what can you even get at a gas station that helps you keep your goals?
Gas station fruit.
Right, fruit. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to get fruit at that point. Yeah, so I grab an orange, I would assume. I like oranges. Yeah. Probably something like that. Yeah.
You should give gas station grapes a shot, by the way. Those are my go-to.
They're good? Okay.
Well, I mean, like, obviously, like, look at them first. If they aren't, if there isn't like a pool of sad grapes at the bottom, like, don't grab those. But like, if they look like clean and crisp, I recommend them highly.
Okay, all right, for sure. I'll make sure I check them out before I get them, but I will definitely do that.
Okay, good.
All right. And for the last couple questions, go shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
My last meal? Oh, God. Like crab legs and a lobster tail and corn and a Dr. Pepper. I had that answer ready to go.
You had that locked and loaded. You've been thinking about this.
I'm so hungry, you guys. My meal plan is just like rice and chicken, and it's just I'm happy and I'm proud, but I'm like I miss food a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God! I'm sending you my best wishes.
Thank you. I need it. I really do.
And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
God, that's so fun. So I'm so into fantasy stuff, so I have so many. My instinctualness, I immediately wanted to say Narnia, right? Just because I grew up on it, and then I wanted to say like Hogwarts, like Harry Potter world, because I love to be a wizard. I'm a stick to Hogwarts though, because my mom's gonna watch this and she'll be proud of me for saying that because she's a huge Potterhead.
What house are you?
Slytherin.
Slytherin. Determination.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm so
a
curious.
Hufflepuff.
What are you? Oh, okay, I see that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. He's probably like a Ravenclaw or something. I don't know. Slytherin, Ravenclaw.
Read one of the books. That was it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've asked the last question. Every single person who's spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
Probably red right now. It changes, but red for sure. Like the power feeling that red gives me.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're seeing it a lot with the album and the album cover.
The
and
album,
prepping.
It might be like some kind of like subliminal thing for sure.
Maybe.
So as I said, that's all the questions I have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
I feel like that's it. Stay tuned for my tour. I'm going on tour in September. And I hope people love this album as much as I do.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you. It's been SkyDxddy, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.